I'm happy to introduce this evening the learning play, What Struggles Do We Have in Common? And this is presented by Factory of Found Clothes, Nina Gasteva, Chto, delat, and the participants of the 48-hour Communal Life seminar. The play is a staging and an investigation of the recurring conflict between artists and intellectuals about the best way and most effective way to advance a particular set of ideas and ideals, and whether that is through collaboration with the institution or through a kind of refusal of that invitation to collaborate with the institution. So just to give a little bit of context to the learning play this evening, this play involves many participants from all over Europe and maybe even the world. And the participants here this evening have been working on this play over the past 36 hours. And they've actually been here consistently for 36 hours, eating together, sleeping in the lower gallery. They might be a little tired today, but it's been a really interesting, fun experience. So hopefully, or maybe, we'll come to some kind of resolution of this conflict. But we should really view this experience as a kind of participatory experience. And for that reason, I hope you appreciate the kind of improvised nature of the play. So that's all I have to say. Thank you and enjoy the play.
Dear comrades, welcome to our learning play.
Now we start.
Chorus on the stage. You can start.
Communist greeting to you, comrades.
Introduction. First question, please. What are you struggling for?
I want everything for everybody.
Well, the struggle to produce joy itself.
It's hard to say now.
Well, it might sound a bit cliche, but the meaning of life?
I think compared to many people who are really struggling, none of us here are struggling.
I'm struggling for life and to be alive.
And I'm struggling not for but against the commercialization of art field and against marketing all the alternative movements and gestures.
On a personal level, I'm struggling for self-realization, but on a professional level, I'm struggling for art to be recognized as a viable tool for social and cultural research, and I see those two things as being interconnected.
If we struggle against, I'm struggling against capitalism.
I'm struggling for a strong political left-wing revolutionary movement.
I'm struggling against all the anti-communist discourses that are dominant today.
I'm struggling for the rise of the EDL.
Against.
Next question, please. Who do you represent?
We represent here a great tradition of dissent and revolutionary struggle in Russia from decembrists to through the dissidents of Soviet time to nowadays.
Unemployment hasn't.
I represent a radical queer community called the Radical Fairies.
Just the whole politics of representation are just too complex to engage with this microphone.
The desire to empathize and connect.
I represent no one.
I ask the question not who do you represent, but to whom are you accountable?
And I probably represent those cultural producers who are critical about their own position and disposition in the larger scale, not just cultural.
Anybody else? Anybody else? I represent nowhere. Next question, please. Are you revolutionary?
No, I'm not revolutionary.
Yes, I am.
I'm not revolutionary too, but I intend to be.
I'd like to be evolutionary.
I'm a revolutionary in my kitchen.
Are you?
Well, I'm an anti-capitalist, so I must be. But it's hard to make it make sense.
Not unfortunately, but I'm trying to learn to be.
For all those people who said they were revolutionaries, do you belong here in the ICA?
I'm a revolutionary, but only occasionally.
What's the ICA?
International Communist Association.
Next question, please. What are you risking?
Well, in my practice as an academic in London, I'm risking a private life.
Go Facebook.
My anonymity.
Okay, just to become a bit more serious, I think.
I am risking to be divorced with my husband.
No, let me say, I mean, because actually representing different contexts, I think positioning yourself on the side of the left and Russian cultural and political context is big risk of total marginalization and exclusion from any statement in public sphere.
I'm risking my individuality.
I find it very hard to risk things.
My sense of humor.
I think love is always a risk.
Anybody else? Humiliation?
Did nothing.
Maybe dangerous risk on different alternative art events, but also on street art events, is to get very drunk at the party afterwards.
If I did what I want, I would risk my right to be in the United Kingdom.
Maybe I won't know until I lose it.
Next question, please.
What is your power and or weakness?
I think our power is the creative energies of 6.5 billion people. I think our weakness is the same thing.
I totally agree, and I think that creativity is probably one of the most risky things which is instrumentalizing so far so brutally.
Anybody else?
Well, it's personal, but power, what I do well is I create spaces, either psychological spaces or organizational spaces or philosophical spaces. But my weakness is that I speak my sentences with authority when actually I'm trying to phrase a question.
I am very ashamed to be on the stage.
It's your power or it's your weakness?
It's a doer. I think it's not bad to be on the stage and be not strong.
Next question? Ah, that was the last one. Dear comrades, now you see, they are great people, and they are ready to work collectively for the communist future of the society. Hurrah! Hurrah! Hurrah!
First, ура! Ready? Next. 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 Stop. Enough. Chorus on the stage. Take your seats. Act number 2.
First part, artists and philosophers.
They received a letter. Now, dear comrades, please stop. Stop. Dear comrades, now our group will be divided into 2 parts. First part will be artists
and philosophers.
And another part will be activists. Please, go ahead. One day, artist received a letter. Please, letter on the screen.
Please show your excitement.
Please, write this letter all together. Read this letter all together. members of the X Collective, artists and philosophers. I'm writing to you from X, an artist organization that strives to commission ambitious, challenging, and exceptional art. Our organization is thrilled when art penetrates the public realm, reaching people beyond traditional limitations of class, age, race, and education. We are committed to providing artists with flexible conditions for the production of temporary interventions into public life, promoting democracy and freedom. We invite you to participate in an extremely groundbreaking exhibition titled Revolution and Communism Now. The exhibition will take place in 6 weeks' time and has received generous support from a leading green and socially responsible corporation. As we know you are also committed to the values of this radical project, we hope very much that you will see this as an opportunity to create a new work. Given the current climate, we hope you will understand that we are only able to offer you a small honorarium / production budget. Small? We are pleased to say that we can provide travel costs and accommodation for you and one other member of your group. We look forward to hearing from you. Sincerely, X. Please show us your excitement. Stop, it's enough. Thank you.
Yeah, but guys, look, I mean, it's silly, but what should we put there? We need a microphone. Need a microphone. Yes.
Stop. Stop. Activists don't like the situation. And
They are questioning the framework of the event.
Which framework, please?
Thank you. Stop.
Okay, so guys,
what do you think? It looks like serious American invitation. So, and you know, it's the usual blah blah blah. So, how many times you took grants from liberal institutions? Come on, it was normal always. So.
Well, we have two problems here. We have an extremely bad metaphor here on here, and we have an agitational issue here. And I think we should take this as a serious frame with which to try to work out our relationships of our practice to something like this, at the least. And maybe I would like to volunteer that well, where I am with my practice now, I'm not sure that this institutional frame is the right aspect. At the same time, I fully respect that this is a tremendous opportunity. This is a tremendous opportunity.
I don't want to sold out the vote of communism and revolution to these assholes. So, I mean, we really should claim it back. And I don't think they are too weak to allow them to misuse these terms. If we participate, we really claim it back. And we can compete in or with the plus value of such kind of projects. So as long as they want to play in kind of radical chic, let's turn the table upside down and see how we can do with this.
But the practical conditions that they're kind of laying down in this letter are just unreasonable for us as a collective to work as a group, but then they're proposing that only 2 people will come, and they're really not giving us enough time to fully work through.
Do you remember any other invitation when we managed to travel with institutional funds with more than 2 people? I don't remember these chances, so it's quite usual right now.
I'm still not sure if I want to promote freedom and democracy. What do you guys think? Promoting freedom?
Well, I would rather engage with the ambiguity of a diverse social reality rather than project my political agenda.
But surely ambiguity itself fulfills very specific political agendas.
Yes, that is my political.
But you know, guys, we should use as more as possible the spaces for propaganda of our ideas. And I think according to these conditions, they can hardly undermine our messages in framework of this, even if we don't know, actually we have to talk and negotiate. But I would suggest that we must approach local activists and test their position on the project.
Yeah, I mean, activists, yeah, I'm not sure what kind of position they take, because, yeah? Sure.
But I mean, has any one of us here actually got those sort of social relations already? Because, you know, just to sort of try and say we want to, you know, I mean, find activists to collaborate with, but I mean, it has to be kind of, I mean, no, but I mean, it,
Well, you know, yes, I think Brad has just taken a position of, you know, refusal against what we're discussing here.
My problem, I've said this in the workshop in the first place, I don't like this division between artists and activists in the first place. Well, that's my problem. I don't like this space here, and
okay, but this division...
I told you I want to sit down and sleep in the middle. That's what I told you. I should go and do it.
So we lost 2 people. So.
We are losing members.
No, I mean, it's not about that. But, you know, I think it's really important to establish close ties with particular social movements in this particular city.
Yeah,
and if we manage to win their participation, I think our participation in this sort of event will be much more grounded, as it's, you see here, and I say, you see.
I'm dubious. It looks suspicious.
no, I was just going to say, I mean, we need to sort of move this forward. We need to take it into another, you know, another kind of space. Otherwise, we're just really talking amongst ourselves, and it's you know, circulating. So we need to sort of.
Is it okay if I write?
Would it be okay? You're there.
We have a frame, we have a situation, and an opportunity with a group of artists I respect deeply. I think it's interesting work, and they're asking for a situation not of agreement and consensus, but a platform for discursive action. It's an institution that backs, it has good credentials, it does not have those, as far as we can tell, normal problems, or one follows the money, it looks okay. And there is a small honorarium to be able to pay for your participation.
I'm very suspicious about this opportunity, but
at the same time, I do think that it might be a good vehicle for some of the issues and some of the campaigning that we've been doing. We could reach new publics. It might be a good chance to promote some of the issues that we've got.
I mean, this institution looks very nice, but let's look at who's sponsoring this project. These are corporations sponsoring this project, right?
Yes.
See what happened last time. One of our activists was invited to one of these institutions to talk. He was not even allowed to talk about the sponsors.
An ethical corporation is a contradiction in terms.
It's not just there are publics and there are publics. Do you know what I mean? Like, is this the public that we want to address?
We haven't had really great experiences working with artists before. You know, we had this one experience with an artist, and he came to our movement and he interviewed us and took even the title of one of our political manifestos and made a video, and it's been shown all over the world without any recognition for our participation in the movement, nor were we even given copies.
You know, for me, the trouble is that the title is Revolution and Communism, but finally, you know, there is a trick because they want to promote democracy and freedom.
Yeah.
What's the fucking thing? I mean,
I've got an idea, hang on. Excuse me, can I come in? We have heard about this invitation and we were wondering how serious you were. I mean, there's this invitation from an institution, no doubt with a season of art and activism. I think the ICA has one at the moment, and I think the Armafini have had a season of art and activism in the past. Over that side, we are doing activism daily, every day, all of our lives. We don't need a season. Just wondering how serious you are about these issues, and would you care to join us in a much more proactive, genuine campaigning practice, rather than just kind of lump it together with an exhibition or event at the ICA or wherever? Come on.
What, you want everyone to come there?
No. Or we can join in the middle.
those fuckers are
I'm
too
always
worried about
interested
careers.
in
They won't join us.
This is bullshit. When cultural workers calls on you to boycott this charade.
Yeah! Come together! Boycott this fucking thing!
Don't listen to him, he's living in the 70s, man.
But wasn't the point always to change the world, not to boycott it?
Yeah!
But this world on their terms. I don't want to be part of that world. I want to destroy that world. I want to create new worlds.
Each world you are part.
Wait. Listen, guys, listen. You're looking left, but you're turning right.
Please explain yourself.
The institution is not the problem. Okay? We are all part of the problem. And unless we work out from that point, we actually can't move this forward.
But what's your decision is?
Look, it's always a discussion on their terms. Do you know what I mean? What I would propose is that we'll say, yeah, we'll have this discussion, but we'll have it outside the institution. They come out, join us on the streets. We'll set the terms for the discussion.
Okay, thanks, Toby. It's okay. Legal revolutionary cultural movement. You see what I told you about this?
Alright, I'm ready now.
But guys, I think it's overall campaign. I don't mind that we participate in their campaign, but at the same time we participate in exhibitions too. What do you think?
But we have to encourage them to participate in the exhibition. So we need to talk to them a bit further about how they might be part of this project in terms of what we're planning for.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do that.
Guys, okay. It's nice suggestion, and we participate in so many events and support it so strongly with all our power. And we know each other many years. Okay, I understand. You think that sounds wrong. Yeah, we are ready to participate. participating in your campaign, but tell us what it would be and how, for example, we can reach your campaign from another countries. Would you help us? Okay, lodging is not a problem. We always share these accommodations. You slept in our houses, we slept in your houses. It's fine. But tell us what we can do. Because, okay, you're thinking about the change of this fucking society. Okay, we want to change it too. But I don't think that your way is right. Because you can't hardly move out of this nice ghetto where you pretend that you are so clean and we are so fucking good. And it's not true.
Yeah. You want to take us out of the ghetto into the IC fucking A?
International Communist Association.
I'm just sitting over there and I'm just getting really tired of this split and this kind of division, which is kind of imposed, you know. So on one side we're supposed to take up the position of the aesthetic formalist, and then you take up the political activist. So it's like, where is this kind of like complexity? You know, can't we just like start to sort of actually get into these things? I think there's more we have in common than we have in terms of this division.
Yeah.
And maybe we can start from that position.
Yeah, join me in the middle.
Something has to move, otherwise we just stay on either side.
Fucking liberals.
But you're talking about us joining you, and you're talking about taking corporate money from this corporation that claims to be socially and environmentally responsible. In what sense are we meeting on some common ground?
I'm talking about trying to get inside the conditions of production and really, like, through the practice and the theory and the discussion, we actually start to sort of break down what that actually means now for us, not then, here, but what actually means now, sitting in this space. You know, it's live. This isn't a recording. This is a live space.
But can't you agree first to leave the walls of this institutional marketing and come to our camps on our terms to discuss all those issues, because we are sincerely interested in them, right? But we don't want to be inside those walls, because it's all about corruption, it's all about marketing leftist ideas. Guys, look closely.
Okay,
what's going on?
Let's come to them and talk. Directly, I don't mind that. We did it many times. But what do they want? No, let's talk directly. Why we need to go?
So the first question I would propose: how leftist radical art could be presented in this or that way, outside of all this corrupted context of big institutions and nicely big corporations.
Sasha, you are so naive.
You are so naive, but where art should be produced? You think that all shit that produced in these squads, it's art. Does it really make change? Does it make a difference? I'm sorry. Of course, as we always demonstrate, we can do works without any money. But if you really speculate on social change, we need to gain audience. We need to gain access to a bigger public sphere. And this is campaign. This hegemonical struggle. Okay, I might agree that this project is completely hypocritical and ridiculous. That's how misused. I'm sure that Negri will come, but you know, all the guys will definitely participate. You know, because they're smart. They know that we should use any venue of public communication, and it's crucial.
But are you struggling for changing the modes of production, or you are just looking forward to change the quality of your art, to promote it on a larger scale? Tell me the truth.
Sasha, can I just say, what about subjectivity happens regardless of the institutional frame?
Because as before, we'll turn up at the institutional setting to its own birthday party.
Very true.
our social movements. And I don't think that's true in the case, I don't think you can make general statements around that. I think it's clear that in the 70s, when there was a very thriving social movement, for example, here, that there were many artists who did see their role as within movements and struggles and saw that as this place in which to meet broad publics. The institutions weren't the necessity at that point. So what happened to get us to this point? Because I don't think all artists are engaged in social movements, and I don't think they're accountable to them, and I don't think when they use institutions, they might use the name of politics, but they don't have the base behind them to support it. And so how do we deal with this? Because we're distrustful often of artists because of the very mechanism of the use of politics within their structures of authorship and profit making.
To be perfectly honest, have we got more important things to discuss? The fucking world's falling apart. 36 hours of this fucking question. You know what I mean? I'm getting up all night. You're taking the parking, humiliating you in public. I'm fucking sick of this question. Let's move on.
Like what to do? Move on.
No, I can tell you.
Guys, as I said to you before, the struggle, I agree with you completely. The world is falling apart. We are running into dead-end catastrophe. But at the same time, if you think that the change of the future will happen in the street or at the slums or in the ghetto, yes, it's an important struggle. But please respect the struggles that we carry on inside institutions. I think it's a crucial ideological battle, and the world will be shaped, particularly in our time. So these battles, much more drastically and quicker, if we give up this field, we are goners immediately. That's my position.
Comrades, this is a charade. This is just a fake opposition. Comrade Lenin said years ago that there is no revolutionary theory without revolutionary practice, no revolutionary practice without theory. Here we have a fantasy of activists without theory and theorists without practice. Join my... Unity of theory and practice, comrades.
Please, I just want to rent some money to sell some pictures. It's all down with political garbage. They play here theater, and we should enjoy. Cynicism, you are clear.
But man, who are you? You appear here dressed quite comically and playing something. What do you want to say? I understand this guy who's jumping and agitating. I share a lot of common with him, but who are you?
And you just try to earn some money selling it.
Okay, but it's not the place.
It's truly not, because I think we should leave, actually. I think we should leave. Yeah, we should leave. Well, not
So, guys, I think it's really drama because I see our position, and of course it looks like that the group of participants we will see, all of them will participate on the basis of this invitation or not, we don't know. But I think the tragedy, instead of uniting our struggle and fight, we see that we're really trapped in all that complexities and everything. So, and I think that we should do both. That's our opportunity. Our offer would be okay if we organize campaign, we support it. But if we participate, please tell something after, judging what we did in this framework. Not just judging the condition of production that we provide. Let's see if it changed. Let's see effects. Let's be more precise with what kind of works we produce. Then you can see, because you know that everything we produce is public license. So we promise that we manage to redistribute the knowledge that we gained through this production machine back and open the course.
Sorry, but I should interrupt you. I'm tired. I see the main opposition not between practice and theory, but between creativity and struggle. You want just to create and enjoy. Where is enjoyment, there is money. Where is money, there is market. Where is market, there is a capitalism. And We reach the dead end. Where are you? On which side? Are you struggling or just enjoying your capacities, your faculties? Man!
Yeah, okay, come on, yeah, all right, yeah, come on.
I think, one more thing, okay? I think the problem with activism is just, you guys just see institution as a bad cop and yourself as a good cop, you know? And that's the problem I have, it's just like, you know, 60s and stuff.
Institution is not the question, it's not the main trouble, man. We should create alternative institutions. We can't do that together, right?
You don't need to shout, you know?
It's a little bit like this, which you're doing. I think this goes together. No, that's not the roll out.
I think maybe none of us got much sleep last night, so maybe we should all sleep on it and discuss when we get more clear-headed tomorrow.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you.
These little heads will never be clear.
Enough. Act number 3. Please clean the stage.
Clean the stage.
One, chorus on stage.
They are slaves of capitalism. They think only of themselves, of their own success. Each of them has their own struggle. They don't understand each other. They are weak and divided. No, we don't believe in them anymore. They haven't lived up to our hopes. They can't even agree about simple things. No, they are weak and divided. They are weak. The people united can never be defeated.
So, act number 3. We need your help now. Dear comrades, you see that beautiful people have a terrible conflict
They cannot come to any decision.
And we hope that you will help us to find a solution. We see that some of you already have any suggestion. Please, can you present?
Don't be passive, please. A suggestion. Yeah.
Don't be passive.
These artists and activists are already forming connections with each other, and so far as I'm aware, the corporation isn't subsidising them while they're doing that. Why can't they just continue forming those connections without any need of a corporation and get money from networks to facilitate travel and so on? Why all this business about a corporation?
As usual at this stage, this is the struggle against bourgeois individualism towards some acceptable form of collectivism. And now there's a long silence.
Who else wants to say something?
Hey. So, I guess what I didn't get about what was happening here was why are the artists already workers? Why are they, why do they say there's other workers? Why have they decided, why did you guys who are presenting something to us decide that they're essentially kind of alienated labour? I don't agree with that. I think the premise of the argument is a bit mad-ass there, to be honest. What's going on there? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Good question.
Thank you. You talk about bourgeois individualism. Do you think that individualism is just a class thing? Isn't the individual important regardless of what your class is? This is just a question. So I'm interested in your answer.
You address it, you should project the question and all answer with that.
Why not?
Okay, good. Marina, please type it down and please try to answer it. Is it individualizing classless?
Anybody else?
I think really we will not have any. In my own practice as an artist and activist together, I feel also the separation is quite, looks suspicious really. And what we have to do as artists and activists, we have to, for example, as I do daily, I would like to continue my own struggle together with individuals with whom I struggle. Because there are a lot of things on my agenda. Actually, it's anti-fascist movement, it's anarchist movement, it's socialist movements combining together. And as far as I live in Russia, for me it's quite, a lot of stuff to risk. And I don't see here any possible suggestion to get them together, these two particular groups. But as actually Max posts, the daily practices of activists and artists are, how to say, unavoidable. For example, I I do propaganda as an artist for socialist movements and for anarchist and anti-fa movements. And I do anti-fascist exhibitions in Russia, which is also kind of a struggle for me. So to do both is a very important thing, as Timo proposed. That's
But where do you make exhibitions?
Where do I make it? Yeah, that's a good question, actually. I usually do it, I usually do it in places which are prepared to host my exhibitions. Right? Yeah, great. Not a squad, but in fact, if there will be a squad which will ask me to do something, I will do immediately. No problems with that, because I do.
Hi, everyone. Firstly, there's not just two struggles going on there. There's also the struggle between you sat on the stage and sat on the chairs consuming it. And the second thing I want to say is, I don't give a shit whether you're an artist, and I don't give a fuck whether you're an activist. What's important is that we all have a moral responsibility to fight injustice. So let's just fucking get our asses and do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I was just going to, respond to that call. I call for action. And one of the things that I've been interested in recently is that the sort of legacy from Thatcher and the sort of anti-unionisation and the anti-union legislation that we've lived through in the last sort of 30 years. But the one act that she put through as these kind of 7 acts was this ban on solidarity. So that, for me, that kind of internalisation of that very successful act on solidarity, and you use the word, if I use the word now solidarity, that already has a kind of nostalgia and a kind of retro. But what you're saying is that for action we need to come together and we need to fight against the sort of complete fragmentation of our internalised position as individual capitalists.
Can I have a problem with that? Because I think it's more insidious than that. I think one of the problems is that we are in slight despair for the language of how to resist now. And what I mean is, it's one of the things I think is most pervasive with this word capitalism, and maybe we're understanding it together, is that it takes away your imagination to even contemplate something outside of it in this way. And so it's hard to even to find this call to action and to fabricate that language and to work in those forms, because I was in the Arts Council meeting where our organisation is under extreme threat, obviously, as an RFO. And it was very clear in the meeting that when we called for a sense of solidarity between artists and nurses or teachers, the response was, well, we're not militants and we're not politicians and that's not our role. And what actually started to occur was a damage limitation exercise. There was, the proposition went forward, in our case with the arts, that there's a strong economic argument not to make cuts. And what they received back was the idea that, well, we're cutting the teachers, so we're sure as hell going to cut the artists. It's really not about this argument, there's these forms anymore. And I'm starting to have problems in those sorts of areas about how to reconfigure the language of the left, if you like, and to find something which can't be dismissed so easily. Because what kind of shocks me is how the severity and the brutality and the speed of what we're experiencing has really no opposition, no voice at this point. But even if it did have an opposition, how would they even phrase those questions? I think somewhere in there.
Yeah, I think you have to lose your fear of uncertainty in periods of change. The future, even when it seems determined is not determined. It lives in the present. And this process of the reconstruction of meaning is always going to start with uncertainty. And that is not a situation to be afraid of. You have to face your fear and build collective consciousness from uncertain beginnings. That's how it works.
All I hear is petty bourgeois revisionism. all this stuff about individualism. I mean, you know, this is so 19th century. Anarchism, the most petty bourgeois movement of all time. Individual liberty and freedom for whom?
Do you have a pension? Do you have a pension, Steve?
I have a state pension. What about you, superannuated petty bourgeois artists?
Can I interrupt the comrade? What he should do is abandon his script of contempt.
Can I stop for a second? I think individualism is a really crucial question, and not to go very deep to the history of the term, and because you know it's useless to address it ahistorically, as if individual or individuum or individualism existed forever. No, it appeared at a certain period of history, right? But not to go very deep. Coming from Russia, I think that what we miss right now is the sense of collectivity, while individualism is covering all aspects of our life, you know, being it social or private. So I think it's really a point to reconfigure, to reconsider what individualism is about, because we are interpellated by the state apparatuses and by economy at the first place as individuals to become individuals, you know, and not to become a collective subject who can oppose, who can imagine an alternative, who can come to some utopian vision of the future. You know, I see that's the crucial point. At a certain moment, you should stop to become an individual and to join some collective body. It's a sacrifice and it demands disciplinary. But without this, at least two things, we can change nothing, I tell you.
It usually requires a sacrifice of the other, not yourself. That's the reality.
But the otherness and the other is also inside ourselves. And it involves dialectics, of course. I'm packing age. Yes, but still, I'm trying to insist on this more critical.
Sasha, thank you very much. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Communal. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Sasha.
I'd like to emphasize I'm not against social solidarity as an idea, but I do feel that history shows that it's important to respect the individual, especially when it comes to things like freedom of speech. I say this about all societies, not about any one particular society, but I think that it is important to respect the individual's freedom of speech and entitlement to their own individual consciousness. That doesn't mean I'm against solidarity as an idea. I'd like to emphasize that. Thank you.
But it's a consensual liberal thing, you know, nothing new. Let's admire the other, right of speech, right of whatever, and we're still in the same, you know, bullshit.
Thank you. I think it's enough, yeah? Chorus on the stage. You can start. The sound goes to his stomach, like this. Let's practice together. Thank you.